Now it's time for the Ask Me Anything portion of this podcast.
Hi, Chani. My name's Denise. I have an astro question for you. So myself, my husband, and my two kids, we all have fixed sun signs in our chart, and I'm just curious what, identifies a fixed sign. I would love to hear your take on it, and how that can manifest in someone's, human qualities. Anyways, I want to thank you for the amazing work you do. You've been such a support for me in my personal and professional life, and just want to send you lots of love and happy holiday season. You want to say hi? Hi,
Jenny. Love hearing the kids in the background. Thank you for that. Hi, everybody. Okay, so if you have a family of people that all have sun signs that are in fixed signs, or if you all have cardinal signs, if you all have mutable signs, you will be heavily influenced by the nature of that modality. So fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. And the main significations of fixed signs is stubbornness, is about being relentless, is about a kind of strength or confidence in one area of your life or in regards to the style within which that sign operates. So Taurus is fixed, stubborn earth. So it is absolutely loyal, right? It is relentless in growing and building things. It has staying power. That's why it's always going to be there for you when you need it, when you need anything. That's a Venus-ruled sign, though. So very different than its opposite sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed water sign. It is going to be really resilient and stubborn and confident and driven to go into the mysteries, to get to the bottom of something, to unearth the truth. Scorpio is really intense. So it is about consolidating emotional energy, right? Taurus is an earth sign. It's intense, but it's about consolidating earth energy. It's consolidating practical energy. So it's like, okay, well, what can we do with what we've got? Scorpio is like, how do I apply the emotional energy that I have, which is really intense and powerful and potent, to getting down to the truth of something or uncovering something. So it's about emotional intensity, whereas Taurus is practically intense. It's able to be consistent and stubborn and resilient in what it wants and also what it wants to build and in terms of a process. And Scorpio, its opposite sign, is ruled by Mars. So it's resilient and it's strong and it's stubborn in terms of cutting through the BS and getting down to the truth, but also in terms of its emotional intensity. Again, there's just that kind of feeling of like when you stumble upon a Scorpio's soft spot, you're like, uh-oh, I didn't know that this was here. And the depth of feeling that a Scorpio feels is unparalleled. Cancer and Pisces could never. Do you know what I mean? It's intense and it's deep. So it's as deep as it is intense. And Taurus is as building and as firm and as grounded as Scorpio is deep and intense. Then on the other spectrum, you have Leo and Aquarius. Leo is a fixed fire sign. It is going to shine. It is going to get your attention. It is going to be brilliant and consistent in its wattage. So the sun is just always blazing. That is Leo. It is intense and confident in its ability to illuminate a situation. I'm not saying that if you're a Leo, you always feel confident. That's not what I'm equating. What I'm saying is the style of Leo, especially if you have your sun in Leo, is to project confidence, to project warmth, and to be captivating. It's just its job. Leo is ruled by the sun. Now, Aquarius is the fixed air sign. So it's intellectual, it's mental energy. And it is ruled by Saturn, the planet that is the furthest out to our naked eye, the last planet that we can see in the solar system. It is the boundary and the barrier of known reality. It is the furthest planet out, right? Leo is the center. The sun, is the center. Saturn is the furthest planet out to our, without a telescope. So one is oriented towards being in the center, Leo, shining brightly, consistently, confidently. And the other one, Aquarius, is all about being like, I don't want to be in the center. I want to be at the margins. I want to look from the outside in so I can see everybody's point of view, so I can understand the entire system, so that I've got the greatest perspective. This is a sign that is the most intellectually confident. Not that Aquariuses always feel so confident about their ideas, but they spend a lot of time thinking things through. How they think and how they come up with their ideas and with concepts and how they understand systems and structures is very important. That's not at the center of Leo's thing, unless you have an Aquarius rising with a Leo sun, right? Then you've got to think about all the ways in which the rising signs come into play, which are, I think, almost more important than the sun sign if we're just going to talk about signs without understanding the planets and where they are. So there's the rising signs, there's of course the moon sign, there's the sign of the ruler of the ascendant. All these things color everything, right? So I'm talking in like kind of pure energetic understanding. But Leo's the inside, Aquarius is the outside. Both are, or all four, right? All four are consistent and potent and powerful and stubborn and determined and there, right? A fixed sign is holding the center. And I'm mixing metaphors because I said Aquarius is on the outside. But it is about consistency. And it is about relentlessness. It is about being able to be at the hub, right? The other signs, the other modalities, cardinal signs are about change. They're always changing things. They're always initiating things. Mutable signs are about being in flux, being a little bit of everything, being both and, being in betwixt, in between, all of it, and then some. Fixed signs are like, I'm here. This is what I am. This is what I do. I'm consistent. This is how I do it. They stay. So maybe you have epic disagreements. Maybe you have epic amounts of staying power as a family. Maybe it's hard to change gears as a unit. Who wins? Who wins when everyone's a fixed sign? Can be kind of epic. But it's not always a battle, of course. So how do you learn? How do you do flexibility? How do you change course as a family unit? And how do you make room for everybody's intense, consistent point of view, sense of self, persona, personality? Taurus is going to be the softest because it's ruled by Venus. Scorpio is going to be the most emotionally intense because it's ruled by Mars. So it wants to, dig in and sleuth out what's happening. Aquarius is going to be the most intellectually intense and have the greatest kind of perspective. And Leo's going to be the most dramatically intense or the most able to kind of illuminate a situation or a feeling or a thought. It's going to want to get the most attention. But again, you might have a mix of all things and your partner might have a mix of all things and your kids might have a mix of all things. So, all these things are always at play. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Say hi to your kids.